well, why are men dumb and why are women crazy? Men are 4 on the dumbness scale because they're singular focused. And so women, when they view men, they're like, he's dumb. He didn't even see his socks sitting right there, or he can't find the hot sauce in the fridge.
We as men perceive beyond the diffuse focus things that women do, or women being emotional, as crazy because it's a different way that they're thinking. And women, when they perceive the way that he's thinking or what he does, his actions, that those appear to be dumb.
Well, I was going to say this actually came from our daughter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. You do it then. Yeah.
Yeah. We were eating dinner, like finishing up dinner. And she was like, yeah, I was talking, about this phenomenon where all men are at least a 4 on the dumb scale and all women are at least a 4 on the crazy scale. And of course, when we first started talking about it, I'm like, I'm not a 4. And then you're like, you're 1 to 3. And I was like, 3? I was expecting 1 to 2. Like, I definitely don't feel like I'm crazy.
Which qualified you definitely to the, like, your statement made you a 4 or above,
Wow. Like, well, I don't think I'm a 4 still. I think everybody has the capability, but, we were talking about it. It's a different
kind of crazy. Though.
We were joking. We were mostly talking about the women being crazy because, men love to say those things. But, yeah, the men also being a 4 on the dumb scale. Right. That's what really kind of like.
The dumb scale, though, when you say 4 on the dumb scale, just because I know that I was confused by this.
Which kind of proves the point of 4 on the dumb scale.
Look, actually, it proves the opposite of it because I'm thinking about these things, right?
But you didn't know which one it was.
The dumb scale is 0 to 10, right? Yeah. And the closer you get to 10, the more dumb you are. Yes. It's not the smart scale. The smart scale would be 0 to 10, and the closer to 10 would be you'd be more smart. So a 4 on the smart scale is closer to the dumb side, right? A 4 on the dumb scale is closer to the smart side. Like that, but that's the lowest you can be as a man, is you're going to be at least some dumb, right?
Yeah, that's the lowest you can be.
And as a woman,
0 is smart, 10 is dumb.
Yeah, and as a woman, you're going to be at least some crazy.
I'm crying.
There's like, this is the minimum threshold. We're not talking about the maximum. There is no maximum on dumb or crazy, okay?
Well, it's 10 for right now.
Yeah, but it goes past that.
I understand.
It's like, that just so we can measure it.
Scale.
It's a logarithmic scale, right? It's like, it's a logarithmic scale, right? So anyway,
we just proved the point,
the dumb scale is about the dumbness. Increases in the scale equal increases in dumbness.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So as you can tell by watching this, we just proved this point. But I actually debunked it further when we were talking about it with our daughter. So I was thinking about it and I was like, okay, well, why are men dumb and why are women crazy?
Right.
And then a light bulb went off. And I was like, men are 4 on the dumbness scale because they're singular focused. And so women, when they view men, they're like, he's dumb. He didn't even see his socks sitting right there, or he can't find the hot sauce in the fridge.
Right.
And like, to women, those things seem dumb.
Yeah.
But really it's because a man has a singular focus. And even if he might be looking for the hot sauce in the fridge, his mind might be on something else. So he can't even see the hot sauce in the fridge.
It can only be on the one thing at a time. Exactly right. You got it.
So they do come across as dumb because they're only thinking about one thing at a time.
Right.
Where women come across as crazy because we're literally thinking about 10 things simultaneously at the same time, which to men is crazy. They could never do that. And if they try to think about more than one thing at a time, they totally lose their mind.
And they would be crazy. Yeah, exactly.
They would go crazy.
Yeah.
So they view women as crazy because women operate on this capacity to think about multiple things at one time. Like, would you love me if I'm a worm? A man would never even think about that. He's got more important things to think about, like his job or, his food he's going to go eat or make or whatever. Exactly. And so these are the real reasons why men are dumb and women are crazy.
Yeah.
Is that it's because of the way that we think. And I swear, ever since I read that Queen's Code book, and I know I talked about it when we talked about the Queen's Code book.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing for me in that whole book, because it explains why we think the things we think about each other. Yeah. Why women think men are dumb and why men think women are crazy. because it comes from this truly not being able to understand how the other person thinks, and that it is genuinely different than one another.
Right. Yeah.
Because we're constantly putting our own ways of doing things onto our partner without really realizing that they don't have the same capacity that we do. Yeah. And a lot of times you hear women upset. They're like, well, I can do it. Why can't he do it?
Right.
And then men being like, well, why can't she just calm down? Like, it's fine.
Right.
Like, we genuinely don't have the same capacities for those things. Our minds literally work in different ways. And if anybody steals this idea, because I know
you will see crazy level 10.
For like 80% certainty, because I'm not 100% because I haven't seen everything on the internet, that this is the first I've ever heard anybody talk about this.
It's definitely going to show up on that one dude's podcast who steals everything. What's his name?
Who?
The guy, the monk guy.
Who steals everything?
Who's the love guy.
The love guy.
He had... What's his name?
Jay Shetty?
Yes.
If you steal my idea, I will sue you. But no, honestly, all I want is for people to genuinely understand, because I feel like men need to genuinely understand that women are different.
Yeah.
That doesn't make them wrong. They're different. And women need to genuinely understand that men are different, and that doesn't make them wrong.
And I think you should get the Nobel Prize for this, obviously. But
what if they contact me? I told John, I'm the Albert Einstein of relationships. But no, it is really funny though, because you and I have been like kind of reading very similar books about like letting go, or like our natural like consciousness or state is like this joyful, happy, like divine sort of state.
Right.
And in one of the books that I just finished, Don't Believe Everything You Think, he talks about like the less that you stew on something and the more you kind of open your mind and not allow like a ton of noisy thinking to go on, the more you download thoughts directly from like the universe, that everything kind of clicks. And that's what I felt like when we were having that conversation. Like, yes, we were talking about it.
Right. But it was just like...
But it just downloaded into my brain and I was like, eureka, And so...
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it does. But, and it applies more than... I mean, because you're looking at it, or the primary way that you're talking about it was in the men have a singular focus.
Right.
And women have a diffuse focus when they're looking at things and thinking about things. It applies to the vision, but it applies to the mind as well. But it's also just we as men perceive beyond the diffuse focus things that women do, or women being emotional, as crazy.
Right.
Because it's a different way that they're thinking. And women... when they perceive a man's the
lack
way that
of thinking,
or
like not thinking as much,
the way that he's thinking, or what he does, his actions, that those appear to be dumb. Even just like getting into a fight, or don't obey the rules and stuff like that. It's like that's dumb. But it's not dumb if you understand what the masculine is and why that's important to the masculine, just like it's not crazy if you understand why women
operate the way
exactly.
that they do. Yeah.
And so I think that's the thing. It's like men just automatically see these behaviors as crazy from women that are feminine behaviors, and women see a lot of the masculine behaviors as brutish and dumb, right? Because they're looking at it from a feminine perspective. Whereas the reality is, it's not that women are crazy. It's not that men are dumb.
Right.
It's that they're different, and the way that they think about things and operate is different, and we don't understand, so we see it as something because we're trying to map it to our own system.
Experience.
Exactly, which we can't map it very clearly. You can't map it to your own experience. You have to have an outside understanding, and that's what we try to do on this podcast too. Is like if you understand what femininity is, if you understand what masculinity is, you might not be able to relate to the femininity as a man.
Right.
Because it's not something you're experiencing. But if you understand it, you can be like, okay, that makes sense.
Like this is why this is
right.
happening.
Just like you don't know, you're not a dog, So you can't relate to what a dog is doing or thinking or feeling, or a dog behaviors or instincts.
Yeah.
But if you talk to a dog trainer, and the dog trainer is like, okay, this is what it means when your dog's doing this. Instinctually, a dog needs to dig or whatever. Then you can understand it. You're never going to experience it. You're never be like, oh, I get it now because I have
yes,
to pee.
I want to dig.
Yeah.
I have the urge.
But you can understand it and not think that it's crazy behavior because it makes sense to you now. And that's